What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, Matty Ice Ryan knocked down the game-tying shot to send the game into overtime, and the Lakers won in overtime, winning 2 straight games. And look, the Lakers looked dominant in the first half. They looked absolutely incredible in the first half, and it gives you a lot of hope and promise for the future of this team going forward, right? If they can just replicate the first half for an entire 48 minutes, I think we could compete with anybody, right? The shooting is still really struggling, but we have such an elite defense. Russell Westbrook seems to really be embracing that, bench role, that sixth-man role, and I really wouldn't be shocked if he won Sixth Man of the Year. Everybody's just kind of coming in their own. You're seeing Walker. He's averaging 17 a game. He put up 28 last night. Just looks really good. And with Russell Westbrook sort of embracing this role and the team starting to kind of come together a little bit, and I do think shots will start to fall, right? I don't think we're going to be, a 22% three-point shooting team the entire season. Eventually, guys are going to average out. Even guys like LeBron James, we know, is capable of shooting 36%, and he's been struggling as of late. He should eventually balance out. Like LeBron said, trust the work that you put in, trust the process. Sooner or later, he's going to be able to start knocking down shots. So will some of the other guys. And with Russ really coming in as that sixth man, I think it'll really be impactful for this team. But I still think the Lakers really need some minor adjustments. I don't think the Lakers need to full-fledged go trade Russell Westbrook right now, sell the farm and kind of rebuild in the middle of a season. I don't think they need to do that yet. I don't think it's something if the right deal is on the table, then maybe you take it, right? If the Lakers could get a Kyrie, do it. If you could get the right Hornets deal, do it. If there's a proper deal out there where it's okay, this would really turn this team from a really good team to oh, this is a legit contending team, then I think you do it. But reality is, it's probably not going to happen for a while. So I don't think the Lakers should rush and push it, especially if we can continue to win games, right? Play the Utah Jazz twice, play the Cleveland Cavaliers in our next 3 games. And if we can win, 2 out of those 3, or preferably all 3 of those games, now we're at 500. We're only 2.5 games out of 4th place in the conference, right? So it's not like we're just so far behind and everyone else is 5-1. But no, everyone's kind of clustered into the same spots. And 3 of the top 4 teams are all teams that people thought were going to be tanking this year and very likely will continue. They just are probably off to a hot start, or maybe they'll tweak the roster at some point and kind of make a decision from there. But nonetheless, I don't think the Lakers need really a huge rehaul roster spot unless it's the right deal. So if you don't trade Russell Westbrook, what are your options? Now, you could trade Kendrick Nunn, who has completely fallen out of the rotation, and it's really disappointing. I was so high on Kendrick Nunn. I spoke so highly on Kendrick Nunn, during this entire offseason, on his potential, what he could bring to the Lakers. He looked fantastic in preseason, and it was all right, this is the guy that I was talking about. This is who I thought he would be. And so far, going into the regular season, he has proved me wrong. He's shown that he's not that guy, at least right now. I don't know if it's just a headspace, if it's just, he's just off to a rough start because he hasn't played basketball, in a year. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we're not good enough to afford a guy that we need to be a key contributor to not be a key contributor. We're not that good to where it's okay, well, we can wait for Kendrick Nunn to kind of come back into his own. No, we need to do something to make an impact. Patrick Beverley. Now, I know Patrick Beverley defensively has been fantastic, especially last night. He had a couple big key plays. Patrick Beverley has also been a liability on offense. If you look at the stats and statistics, the Lakers aren't really better with Patrick Beverley on the court, and in many cases, they're overall better when he's not on the court. And Patrick Beverley is the only other sizable contract that we have to trade. And I understand Patrick Beverley is a locker room guy. He's a vocal leader. He's a grit sort of dog. And I loved when we went and got Patrick Beverley. I have the receipts here on this channel. I was talking about what Patrick Beverley can bring to this team. And I still do believe he has an impact on this team. But again, we are not good enough to have a guy that we need, like a Patrick Beverley, to not be able to perform on both sides of the ball. And maybe Patrick Beverley kind of comes into his own offensively, but he just looks really bad out there offensively, right? I mean, even last night, he was getting into the paint, trying to create floaters, couldn't make floaters. He had that one shot where, it could have completely changed the tide of the game. And instead of, finishing, when he got the offensive rebound, he had the opportunity to go up. And instead of going up, he thought the defender was going to come and tackle him and bump into him. And instead, he sort of leans back and does this little floater. And he ends up missing the shot. They go in the other direction. They score. And now it's like, now we're in trouble, right? When if he would have made that shot, 2-score game, now we're in a different position. And it's just, it becomes an issue and a concern. And many of us were like, why did you even put Patrick Beverley in? Why is he in the game? But he did make some great defensive stops and some great defensive plays. But again, I don't think we're good enough to where we can just have two of our guys be liabilities on offense. I just don't think we can. And the one spot that we have too much of is the point guard position. That's not even counting Dennis Schroeder's coming back, right? So when Dennis Schroeder comes back, now you have Russ coming off the bench. It's going to be clunky for the Lakers, and you're going to have, probably Kendrick Nunn playing a lot of DMPs. And so he's just a $6 million contract or a little under that's just sitting there on the bench doing nothing. And Patrick Beverley, how much does he play when Dennis Schroeder comes back? Especially if Dennis Schroeder is the German Dennis Schroeder, the one that was just killing it over in Germany, right? If he comes and he's that contributor to the Lakers, then that changes the lineups for the Lakers, right? And so I think these two guys may be the odd men out if you're going to keep Russell Westbrook and make a trade. And again, I don't think the Lakers need a huge significant trade. Now, I did do a video, and I'll even link that video down in the description below. I did a video diving into how you can flip these two into the Spurs deal without trading Russell Westbrook. So these two guys, salary-wise, match up with Jakob Poeltl and Josh Richardson. So you could actually take these two, a first-round pick, and go do that deal. That would be really awesome. I would be all for that. If the Lakers did that deal right now, I would be jumping up and down with joy. But I don't necessarily think, obviously, look, Josh Richardson would be fantastic, 3-and-D. He could be a more natural shooting guard for us. You could also have Walker. Him and Walker, I think, would be a great duo in the starting lineup. And then, of course, Jakob Poeltl, have him in the game. That way, Anthony Davis can now shift to the 4. I do think that'd be great, and I do think that would be a great alternative if we can get that done. But I don't think the Lakers need much right now. I really think the Lakers need a proven scorer and shooter, not just a guy that can just shoot mid ranges and get buckets. I'm talking about a guy that can, yes, he can go get his own shot. He can go get you 20 plus a game, but also he can play off the ball and knock down shots at a reasonable rate and really help this team, because I don't think the team needs much. And I really think Terry Rozier might be the answer, because you could trade both Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn and get Terry Rozier. The money works. And not only does the money work, but you're very likely not going to have to give up any assets to take on Terry Rozier, because he's on a 4-year, $100 million deal. We're helping you take him off. Maybe you give a second or something like that, but shouldn't take any first-round picks. Now, if you do that, you got a proven scorer in Terry Rozier that can go and get you 20 plus a night. Because here's the thing. Russell Westbrook is now coming off the bench. That's great. Let's say he's given us, 15, 5, and 5 off the bench. Great. Fantastic. Walker has proven he's a 15-point-a-game guy. All right, that's great. But Walker isn't a natural scorer, right? He's not a guy that can just go easily get a bucket. He's more of he's just athletic and quick and crafty, and he can kind of just finagle his way to the rim and get to the basket, knock down a couple shots, but he's not shooting an elite level. He's great at what we need him to be. He's also guarding the best player on the other team, usually night in and night out. So he's a great two-way guy. But we need a guy that can just go get us a bucket. Because right now, a lot of the pressure is on LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then Walker and Russell Westbrook. And we need a guy that could come in, play off of LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, which Terry Rozier can, and he can shoot the ball at a respectable rate. He shoots 38 to 40%. So get a guy that can knock down the 3-ball, play on the ball, play off the ball, but he's a guy that you can just tell, go get me a bucket. And he's a proven scorer. Scary Terry. The dude's put up 50-point games. And I think if you get a guy like Terry Rozier for a Kendrick Nunn, who is basically, like I said, falling out of the rotation, and also a guy like, Patrick Beverley, as great as he is defensively, I don't think losing him is going to have as much of an impact as, many may think. And you get a guy like Terry Rozier who can play defense. He's not a great elite defender, but he's good enough defensively. And he's a guy that can go get you 20 a night, any given night, and you can trust him to do that. And I think the Lakers really need that. Because here's my problem. Let's say we went and trade for Buddy Hield right now, I don't think he really solves anything. Because the thing is, yes, he'll improve the percentages of our three-point shooting and provide some floor spacing. But outside of that, he gives you nothing. He's terrible defensively. He's not great at creating for others. He's not great at, creating shots, right? He can create his own a little bit, but he's not a guy that can just go get you a bucket. He's more of you need to set him up, and if he can just get the spacing to get the shot off, he can get the shot off and shoot at an elite rate, right? And that's great. But what you get with Terry Rozier is you get a guy that can provide floor spacing still, but he can also orchestrate the offense and actually be a playmaker for other guys, but also go and just get you a bucket, right? So if his shot isn't falling, you can still play Terry Rozier. Where if Buddy Hield isn't making shots, you're in trouble, right? He becomes unplayable. But Terry Rozier can provide multiple things. I think he would give you a bigger impact than just go get a shooter, right? If the Lakers just go get a shooter, I don't think that's going to be enough to take us over the top. But I think a guy that can shoot and score and do a multitude of other things really could make a huge impact on this Lakers team that will make us, marginally better, in my opinion. And then on top of that, you still have Russell Westbrook. And if you don't have to give up a first-round pick, then you still have Russell Westbrook and those 2 first-round picks to, if you do want to go make a trade later on, you can now go make that trade. So say you want to do the Spurs deal, you can, and you want to get, McDermott, let's say you want McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Jakob Poeltl. You can go do that, get the 2 first, get the trade exception, get the players, then use the trade exception to go get another guy. And now you just got 4 or 5 guys that you just got a roster rehaul. Or you could, if Russell Westbrook is playing great and this team is great, then you're good. Leave it like this right into the season and see what happens. That's something that I think the Lakers should really look at. And obviously, there are all the reports of the Lakers looking at Terry Rozier. The Lakers really seem to be high on Terry Rozier. And based on reports, he's been kind of a priority for the Lakers. And I think he should be. I really think Terry Rozier could really make a huge, huge impact for this Lakers team. Because he's a guy that can just go get you a bucket. You can trust Terry Rozier can be your third scoring option night in and night out. Terry Rozier is a guy, he's perfect on this team next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's not a guy that you want to build your team around. He's not a guy that's likely your second best player, but when he's your third or fourth best player and his job is solely just to be your scoring option and that's all he has to really focus on is just making shots, I think you'll have a better Terry Rozier than we've probably ever seen, because he's going to have the talent around him to make him better, for one, and two, he's going to be able to just focus on what he is so good at. And I don't think the Lakers need any huge changes, right? Because even the games we lost, we were in pretty much all of them. And most of those games were games that we should have won. And I think if we had a Terry Rozier, we probably would have won those games, right? Because we would have had a guy that could be a scorer down the stretch, that could be a guy that could just go get you a bucket, that could provide that scoring punch, because a lot of our guys right now we're great defensively, but we don't have that consistent just go-to scorer, and we really need that. And I'm sure there are other guys that are out there that would be, maybe better or that we might like a little more. But the reason I say Terry Rozier is because he's obtainable. He's a guy that we could realistically go get. And that's the question, if anyone else, right? I'm sure you're thinking of all kinds of guys, oh, what about this guy? What about that guy? But how realistic can a trade be for that guy? And how much money does he make, too? Because the only way we could trade for a 25 to $30 million player would be to trade Russell Westbrook, right? If we could go get Kyrie Irving right now, I think you go get Kyrie Irving right now, but you wouldn't be able to trade for Kyrie Irving without Russell Westbrook, right? And Kyrie Irving would have the same impact and more than Terry Rozier would have, but the thing is, like, what minor tweaks can we do until something like that happens? Maybe then Kyrie does become available and the Lakers can work it out. Or, like I said, you ride into the season. For us, works as a sixth man, and it's great, and it's thriving. Maybe you re-sign him, and he takes the hometown discount, and he's your sixth man. I don't know. It gives you opportunities, but I really think the Lakers should take a hard look at Terry Rozier and see if they can get him. Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, and like maybe a second-round pick or 2 second rounds to get Terry Rozier. I think that would be a great move for the Lakers. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think the Lakers should go get Scary Terry? Do you think that they should wait? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, let me know down in the comment section below.